Welcome to this special edition of School Matters. I'm Joni Kopis, and today it is my pleasure to talk to Mrs. Janet Baker, who is retiring after 44 years in education, with 23 being our superintendent. So welcome once again, Janet.
Thank you. I guess this is the last for me, Joni.
Yes. 44 years in any career or profession is pretty impressive, Janet.
It's been a labor of love. I came to Hamilton back right when I got out of college and never really wanted to be anyplace else. This is my home, and I felt really privileged to be able to serve as the superintendent for all these years.
Well, let's reflect back on your years of service. Give us again an update of sort of how you got started here in the district.
Well, I got hired at George Washington Junior High down in Lindenwold. I started my career there. Had a master's in library science. Was in the library there. Moved up into a position called Dean of Students, which is really just pretty much like an assistant principalship. And then moved on to the principal, being the principal at George Washington. Loved that. From there, I went to Lincoln Elementary as the principal and loved the elementary level. Just thought that, really that's where it all gets started. And moved then from there to central office as a director of elementary education, where I worked with all of our elementary schools, and then moved into the assistant superintendent for human resources, personnel. Great job, and then moved into the superintendency and been there ever since.
You started the superintendency in 1992, so you've seen a lot of changes in education, not only with the accountability and state testing. So there's just a lot of accountability now too. So you've seen it all in the last 23 years.
I have, yeah. I think as I talk to teachers who've retired, I tell them you wouldn't know education today because so much of what we did and how we did it has really progressed. And I think the world's getting more competitive. The skills that our students need are much more rigorous than they once were. And so there's a lot of emphasis on what students need to know and be able to do, and the Common Core and the new state testing and the new state evaluation system. So it's a lot of responsibility for teachers. And then of course, teachers these days are not only teaching content, and in many ways they're teaching young people how to be successful in life.
And part of the state testing is the state report card, and we recently got some good news on our literacy K-3 data.
We did. It all starts down, actually early childhood education, which we've been a big proponent of. We've had all day, every day kindergarten for well over a decade, and have partnered more recently and are offering more preschool. We're doing one this year at Booker T. Washington Center, and we're partnering with the Y and with the Community Foundation for that. But really a focus on reading being a core basic skill. And I've done a lot of training with our staff, and we believe that if we have the students reading at grade level by third grade, they're going to be successful then throughout their entire career. And so there was just a testing that measured that, and we fared very well in the county. We were right up there at the top. So we
20% average more than the state average.
Right.
Yes,
we were
20% higher.
extremely pleased about that, and of course they rated that then with a letter grade. So we believe that we're on the right track, and we're continuing to understand how the tests work. We did a pilot in the online testing at our secondary level, and really worked out a lot of the kinks before it's actually graded in a way that is a letter grade for the report card. But we were very encouraged by that most recent result that we got back.
And then we used to have what we call the Job Development Center. Now it's Career Tech Education. That has sort of exploded and taken off as well under your superintendency.
It has. We have a diverse community, a diverse school district. And so our vision really is that we want to take each child, nurture their talents and interests, and help them get, set kind of on the right path, whether or not they're going to, a 2-year college or post-secondary training, a 4-year college, into the military, into the world of work. And so certainly our career tech programs being right there at the high school is a real benefit, I think, to Hamilton students, and prepares a lot of our students for the world of work.
And another change in education is is the technology, and how that has started and actually grown and exploded.
Yeah, you hear these words, game changer. Technology in education has really been a game changer, and I'm very proud of our district. Obviously, when we built our new buildings, we were able to upgrade the infrastructure and the wireless capacity and all like that. But we have a vision that technology individualizes for students, kind of takes them where they are and moves them forward. So if they're behind, the work may be a little bit more of a catch-up remediation. If they're ahead of grade level, we can certainly move them on in enrichment kind of ways. So we've hired an excellent technology director, coordinator. We have a strategic vision, and every year we're investing in technology and have quite a bit in our school district at this point. I think every 3 students there are 2 computers for. So we do those through carts a lot of times, and we're continuing, our teachers are continuing to see the benefit of that, pulling lessons from online, communicating with students in the evening, providing support with homework. There are just a variety of ways that technology, when it's integrated into the instruction, really makes a difference. Plus, kids like it, and it's the world that they live in outside of school. So,
and we have a lot of school districts calling us saying, how are you doing this? So we truly are a leader in technology with other school districts.
We are. You know, I like to think often about our strengths, and certainly we've always felt that our fine arts have been a strength. We've felt that our character education initiative has been a strength, but I think we're also, you know, leading in the area of technology.
And you have personally received a lot of accolades, well-deserved. You were the Ohio Superintendent of the Year in 2000, YWCA Achieving Women, Vision 2020 Award. So you've received a lot of awards and honors, but you've also presented a lot of state and national conferences on different things as well.
Right. I've had a great career, and I would love to say that I can take credit for those awards, but really I accepted them on behalf of the people who work in the district, because you've heard me say this so many times during my superintendency. I think that our human resources, the people who work in our district and who are committed to it, are the ones who are really the unsung heroes. And certainly I believe that about our staff. You know, every day the work that our educators do with students in the classrooms.
Well, and to that end, in 2000, you persuaded our board members to purchase the Ohio Casualty Markham Center for a new board office and training center because of your belief in our staff.
Right, right. Yeah, we were located in the historic board building, and that was a great old building. It was not handicapped accessible, so that was an issue. And we heard the Ohio Casualty, who had just renovated the building into a training center, was moving out. So it was the perfect way for us to get a better, more accessible facility, but more importantly, to create some really nice space where we can do a lot of staff development. For example, today, I was able to go in and greet all of our administrators there. They were there for a special education boot camp. So there's just almost a day that doesn't go by that groups of teachers aren't in there working, meeting. We use that a lot too to host meetings. You know, we have our preschool meetings there, and the community comes in. So it's been a great facility for our own people, but also for the community as well.
And we know that that's one reason why a lot of our new teachers join our district, is because of the training and support and mentoring that we give them.
Right. We have an outstanding mentoring program, and education is so challenging these days that without that kind of support and without appropriate training, it just becomes overwhelming for staff. And we're thrilled. We're expanding that for next year just because of the number of new employees that we have. But talking about providing support and keeping people in your district, having an outstanding mentoring program is a big part of that.
Well, we talked about the board office, and the board member surprised you at your recent retirement reception by renaming the board office in your honor. So let's go ahead and we'll watch some of that.
I want to thank everyone for coming today and celebrating Janet Baker's career. It is a long and illustrious career, and we're very fortunate to have her as our superintendent, and she will definitely be missed. And I want to thank all of you for coming and celebrating with us today. I've only had the opportunity to work with Janet for about 3.5 years, and it has been a wonderful learning experience for me. She's taught me so much in terms of how to act as a professional, and how to handle various problems that we're faced with on a regular basis. And I'm very appreciative of that. But I want to give Dr. Stitzinger an opportunity. He and Larry Bowling obviously have been with Janet much longer than I have. And they have, well, the board as a whole has a special award, if you will, for Miss Baker. And I'm going to allow Dr. Stitzinger to do the honors. But before he does that, I think he wants to say some words about Janet and her career. Thank you very much for coming, and I want to introduce you to Dr. Stitzinger.
Thank you, Scott. You know, when you think about the career of Janet Baker, how do you honor Janet Baker? How do you honor a person who has spent her entire adult life in the service of our school system, of our city, of our teachers, and most importantly, of our students? You know, she started 44 years ago at George Washington Junior High as a librarian, then became an assistant principal there, and then the principal of George Washington. From there, she became the principal of Lincoln Elementary School, and then the director of elementary education, then the assistant superintendent for personnel, and finally the superintendent. And we have been so fortunate to have Janet as our superintendent. And you look back at her career and you think about, you know, all of the accolades and awards. You know, when she was named Martha Jennings Holden Foundation Superintendent of the Year, and a little bit later then the Ohio Superintendent of the Year. You think about character education, which was Janet's idea and her program, and how we've been infused into now the education of students in Hamilton. And we were named the School of Character for the entire country just a few years ago. There's been so many things that you could talk about. I can remember the fire at Wilson. And right after that, Janet, and there was so much talk about Wilson and the age and all of that, and Janet said, you know, this is a perfect time to run a bond issue. And from that bond issue became another bond issue, and then, of course, we have all the new schools in Hamilton. One of the things that I think many of us most remember about Janet is her ability to mentor the people that work for her. She's been very, very big on professional development for both teachers and administrators. And the administrators in this room and those who have worked for her in the past will tell you what a great mentor she has been. And about the same time as the fire in '99, we began to think, and Janet said, you know, if we're going to have professional development for our teachers, we need to think about a new location for the Board of Education. And it was at that time that Ohio Casualty had pretty much left Hamilton, and the present Board of Education was for sale. So she said, you know, we need to buy that. And talking to a very conservative board who do not like to borrow money, we were very fortunate to have the Community Foundation offer an interest-free loan for 5 years. And so we purchased that building. And that building, when you think about all the professional development that goes on there, literally on a daily basis, and all the mentoring Janet has done, what better way to honor Janet Baker than to name that building? It is still the Hamilton Board of Education building, but it's the Janet T. Baker Educational and Training Center.
Larry said, "Are you surprised?" And I said, "Yeah, I really am." From time to time, there are individuals in our school district who are so committed to education, and people will suggest naming buildings after them. And our board does that very rarely for obvious reasons. And so my success, I was telling our pastor out in the hall that this has been a labor of love for me. When I graduated from college and graduated from Eastern, we decided to return to Hamilton and make our home here. And I applied in the school district, and just that's where I wanted to be. And no place else has ever caught my attention. I've been rewarded beyond belief to be able to serve the families and children in our school district. And as I looked around the room today, what struck me is not only do I have so many close friends in education, but more importantly, close friends in our community. And so when people say to me various things about accomplishments, I turn it right back on you. And so I want you to know that I love you all. I've had a blessed career, and I'm both sad about leaving, but really excited about the future. So thank you all for being there and supporting me during this really amazing career.
What a great tribute to you, Jana, for the board building.
That was a huge surprise. It was
And it's hard to put surprises on you, too, so that was nice.
It was a reception, and thanks to you and my secretary who kind of organized it and planned it, and really to all the people who attended, because as I stood in that room, it was people that I'd worked with 10 years ago in education, current people in education, people from the community, and it really conveyed to me how important this community feels about public education and its importance in the community. And so that was a total surprise and really something that I feel very honored by. That was a generous gesture on the part of our board, because we get a lot of requests to name rooms and things after people, and they've been kind of reluctant to get that whole issue started. And so it really was it was a great surprise.
And we said you've been superintendent for 23 years, and about 15 years of that, or even longer, we were involved in the master plan for facilities with the Ohio State Facilities Commission. So that took up a lot of your time. So let's talk about that, because you talk about a lasting legacy.
It did. One of the things, obviously, I'm most proud of are new buildings throughout the city. So, you know, as people move in, it doesn't matter where they move, they're going to go to a state-of-the-art facility. And that was really a labor of love as well. You know, I learned more about construction than I ever wanted to know, but to really have a part in sort of envisioning education for the future and thinking about things like safety and security and technology, for Hamilton students to have the best of all of that is, it's just a source of pride, not just to me, but to our entire community. I know this past weekend, they did a tribute to Jim Carr's life in our auditorium there. And as I walked in, I was taken back again by the cleanliness and the really great facilities that we have, not only for the school district, but also for community usage as well.
And even the elementary schools are 5 and 6 years old. We still have districts coming in to look at them as they build their new buildings.
We do. We were very thoughtful about how do we use the whole building as a learning environment, where in the past it had just been the classrooms. And so we decided to create those extended learning areas for volunteers and tutors that come in. We're using the hallways, or the pods as they call them, for teaching spaces for small groups. And we've just done a great job. I think our media centers are fantastic. We have access to science lab type facilities. And the buildings continue to be, our students take a lot of pride in them, as well as our parents.
Right.
And they continue to be a real source of pride and will remain that way for decades to come.
You mentioned Dr. Jim Carr, what a great guy. He was a school board member for 16 years. But again, you've been very fortunate with some very strong Board of Education members.
I have. I think the success of every superintendent is dependent upon really the respect that the board has for the superintendent and their willingness to give that person the freedom to really move the district in the direction and support them along the way. And so our boards of education have historically been great at working with me, and I attribute any success that I have in part to that level of support.
Very much so. And during all the construction, as I said, it took over 15 years. You received a phone call about President Bush coming to sign the No Child Left Behind education bill at Hamilton High School.
We did. I think back to that day, that cold day, and those long lines, and the energy and the excitement and the pride, really, that we had as we assembled there at Hamilton High School to celebrate and to be chosen for a district that was trying to meet the needs of a very diverse student population. But in that gym that day, it was undeniable the importance that the community feels around public education. And so we've honored that bill in that regard, and we've held that as an important memory. I jokingly say President Bush couldn't have been more generous with his compliments about the way he was able to sign the bill that day with our students, and basketballs and baseballs and T-shirts, and I tell the kids, he even gave me a kiss on the cheek, and they went, "Well, I bet you didn't wash your cheek for a while."
And then later that year, then you were invited to his education and economic forum in Texas.
Yes, absolutely. What a great honor. I don't even think I understood at the time sort of the honor of that. And he had an education and economic forum, and then actually chose me as the person who was reporting out to him. And so I'm sitting on this stage, this young person from Hamilton, Ohio, reporting out to the President of the United States on education. So that'll be a memory that I'll cherish for years to come as well.
And one of your big initiatives you mentioned earlier was our character education.
Yes, and I feel as strongly about that today as I did the first day that we implemented it. I'm a firm believer in great educational opportunities and experiences, but also teaching our young people how to be great human beings. And so we started a character education program years ago. That really took on at the building level, and we had a district committee, and each building, in addition to teaching the academic program, have a big push and a big emphasis on character education, and that has just maintained and grown over the years. And our mayor was so impressed by that we've expanded that now, and Hamilton is a city of character.
And you could see the banners on the High Main Bridge.
Right,
Very
and those
impressive.
list our character traits.
Right, very good. And then we became the Ohio State School District of Character.
Right.
And then 2012, we became the National School District of Character.
Right, and that was a very distinguished honor. We were the only school district in the entire nation to receive that award. And so we feel good about that, and hopefully for years to come, our students will learn good character, and they'll go on to be make meaningful contributions and be people of good character.
Good character. Also, you mentioned earlier as well, school districts can't do it alone. We need a lot of partnerships, community involvement. So talk about the various committees, partnerships that the school district has under your leadership.
Oh gosh, over the year we have partnered with so many organizations, social service agencies. Two really long-standing committees that come to mind for me are our Business Advisory Council, and I've had a Business Advisory Council during my entire tenure, and that's a group of business leaders who meet in an advisory capacity with the school district. And they've been not only have they been great supports, but they've actually participated in helping us define, what are employers looking for, where we might need to put a little more emphasis. And so that group's been a great group of people. And again, the reinforcement that education is a community priority. We've had strong partnerships, formal partnerships with Miami University Hamilton. I serve on the chamber board, and we have a good relationship with our chamber. Certainly the Community Foundation and the way that Harry T. Wilkes has supported scholarship opportunities, and just going to the scholarship reception the generosity of that in helping our students go on to the next level. We started this year a Key Communicators group, and that was made up of a few different types of people, some of them parents, some of them business people in the community. And the idea is, how do we get the word out? And certainly TV Hamilton's been a great partner in us doing this as we're doing it today. It's not uncommon for me, almost on a monthly basis, to run into someone who says, oh, I was watching TV Hamilton the other day and I saw you on there. But it's a great venue for us to be able to get the good news about the school district out into the public, because what we know is that only about 1 out of every 3 households have a school-age child. So I think grandparents love seeing their grandchildren perform at different things, and it's a great resource.
Well, we had TV Hamilton at your retirement reception, and they were able to pull a few community members to get some comments about you. So let's hear what some of them have to say about Mrs. Janet Baker.
Congratulations, Mrs. Baker. It's been a real pleasure for me as president of the chamber to work closely with you. I wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Well, I wanted to come with my wife and I to honor Janet today for her 44 years of school service to the Hamilton City Schools. Now, I came to Hamilton in 1950 into the school system, and I believe at that time Janet was a librarian at George Washington Junior High School. Robert Quisenberry was the principal at that time. But I have been very pleased during my career here to work with Janet over the years. She's always been a friend to me, and always interested in what she could do to improve the schools. It's really, when I left the system in '88, the tenure for superintendents in national surveys at that time was about 2 years. Janet served as 24 years as superintendent in the Hamilton City Schools. And she was able to survive all of the community and all of the staff problems over all of those 24 years. She had the magic touch. And when she left the system, we have state-of-the-art schools, state-of-the-art materials, and state-of-the-art teachers. And she should be extremely proud of where she left the school system when she retired.
I'm Lois Tompkins, and I just want to wish her a very happy retirement.
Mrs. Baker, I want to say congratulations on your retirement. I can't believe you're actually leaving us. We figured you would stay till I'm gone. I've got 30 years in last week, so I might just have to retire tomorrow. Thank you again for all the support that you've given the Fine Arts Department all through the years, and all the support that you've given me personally. Thank you, Mrs. Baker. Have a great time.
Well, it's my honor to wish Janet a very happy retirement. Janet Baker has been a great superintendent, one of the very best. And she's been a real asset to this community, to the school system, and to education in general. She is well respected, not only locally, but in surrounding districts and throughout the state. Witness her award as Superintendent of the Year and her entry into the competition for National Superintendent of the Year. Her leadership in building our new schools, getting the bond issues passed, and her inspiration in getting the voters to approve the bond issue and to get these outstanding buildings that we have. But above that, Janet has been a great educational leader, a great mentor for our administrators, teachers, and I just want to wish her the very best. She deserves it.
Hey Janet, this is your friend Kathy. I only can say to you, I hope you enjoy retirement as much as I've enjoyed retirement. There's so many things out there to do and grab a hold of. I know you'll be very successful at whatever comes next.
When Janet was a youngster, I had the Shell station at Urian High, and she lived, her grandmother lived on Campbell Avenue, right behind the Shell station. So I've known of Janet since she was elementary school. She's been a wonderful person for the city of Hamilton and for Hamilton's school system.
Hey Janet, there's not a lot I can say except you know that I really, really, really love you and I'm going to miss you like crazy.
I would like to wish Janet Baker a long, happy retirement. She has done a tremendous job for the Hamilton City Schools, just a countless number of things that I could mention about her. But her passion for the Hamilton City Schools has always come through. It's obvious in the new elementary schools that were constructed on her watch. The character initiative that she started has been remarkable. The values that are instilled in these students beyond the classroom is so invaluable for their future. And we owe a great deal to Janet, and I can't say enough about her. I've served on several boards of the Hamilton City Schools. I've served with Janet, and it's been a privilege to do so, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Well, I certainly want to wish Janet the very, very best in retirement. We have been so blessed in Hamilton to have Janet as our superintendent for the last 23 years. And you really think about it, she spent her whole adult life working in this school district for the students, for the city, and has made quite a mark, one that we will never forget. So again, Janet, congratulations and best wishes in the future.
Mrs. Baker, thank you so much for everything, all the opportunities, and you have truly left a legacy in Hamilton and have truly made a special imprint on me and my career and my life in general. Thank you and best of luck.
Janet, along with hundreds and hundreds of other people that are here today and those that are not able to be here, just want to say congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. You know, we go way back. I can remember when you used to come to Eastern Kentucky University, yay, home of the Colonels, when Duke was playing football. And I got to know you a lot better then. And I also remember making for Duke a very special stocking that held something special that you now wear on your left hand along with your wedding band. If memory serves me correctly, he stuck it down in the toe of the stocking. So anyway, I'm just blessed to have known you. The city of Hamilton is blessed to have had you as a teacher and administrator all these years. And I just thank you for being part of my life. God bless you.
Well, I'm Buddy Wallen, a very good friend, and my wife Atha here. We have known Janet and Duke for a long, long time. We go back into the 60s, and my wife's father taught them at the old Harding Junior High, and then as they graduated, you know, up the line, then we and my wife and Janet taught together over at George Washington. So we're still very great friends, but we had a summer home up in Minnesota, and they came up with us, and we went fishing and had a great time. Also, we went to Pennsylvania a number of times and antiquing. Of course, we were in the business ourselves, and so we have some very fond memories. I was just talking to Janet a while ago when I said, you know, what she ought to do is get on her bikini when they go down to Florida and hit the beach. And she says, I don't think I can do that. So those are just great stories, and we have very good fond memories with Janet and Duke.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Mary Russell with the Character Council of Greater Cincinnati, and I'm just thrilled to be here today to honor Janet. She is truly a champion of character education. She just really drove the program here through the entire district of Hamilton Schools. I'm proud to know her, and we just wish her the best in her new adventures. So appreciate being here. Thank you.
Well, Janet, there were some very nice comments about you, and rightfully so.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your future plans, because I know you're looking forward to retirement, but you're not truly retiring. You've got lots of plans.
I do. First and foremost, I have two precious grandchildren, Bella and Jake. They attend the Hamilton City Schools, and so I'm anxious to have a little bit more time to spend with them, obviously. My husband tells me he's been waiting on me to travel, maybe to Florida during some of the really cold months. And I have a really unique opportunity that I'm excited about, because I continue to be really passionate about public education and interested in people going into the profession and having the skills and experiences that they need to do well. And so I'm going to be working with the Butler County Educational Service Center just on a daily basis, kind of as a consultant, not on a daily basis,
right,
as a consultant, and I'll have the opportunity to meet and do executive coaching with other superintendents in Butler County. So I'm excited about that. I think it'll keep a foot in the door, and it'll keep me challenged a little bit and keep me really connected with a career that I've really been privileged to have.
And again, one of your strongest suits is mentoring others, so this is a perfect fit.
It is.
So, well, on behalf of the entire community, we thank you for your 44 years of service, and please enjoy your well-deserved retirement. We look forward to seeing what the future holds for you.
Thanks, Joni.
And for TV Hamilton, I'm Joni Kopis, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.